having me. Yes, I apologize for not being staff like I was when I made this appointment, but I did resign because the campaigning got so busy. But luckily, I still have my stickers. I even have pencils and things like that. So if you want some swag, I'll put it up here. I know the youth love stickers most. So for the last 4 years, I did work. I was the only and first. That is such a disconcerting sound, I'll tell you. I'm from earthquake country. I was the first employee east of the Cascade Mountains. So I took on the whole territory of from here all the way to La Grande, basically Baker and Ontario up to Pendleton, to try and get teachers who are interested in incorporating more civics into their classrooms to have ideas on how to make it very interactive, realistic, and effective so that they were ready to be active citizens the moment they graduated or even before, the way you two are doing it. So there's charitable civics work, and then I'm going to also walk you through some ways that you can provide more of your own voice into decision making in our republic, because your representatives can only represent your wishes if you share them, right? So you can grumble, but if they don't hear the grumblings, they're not, going to know what you're upset about. If you're want to be proactive, I'm going to show you some tools for that. So how many of you have already been very civically engaged your whole life? Like I just learned you published a newspaper. I'm pretty sure you know what's going on, right? How many of you would say you're pretty civically engaged? I figured. And so I have this checklist. You might already have done a lot of those things. And so I'd like you to take a few minutes and reflect on how would you like to grow yourself civically in the future? Because you might already be coming from a place of, well, I already do this a lot. I mean, even you're doing this as young people. And I applaud that. I also want to applaud you for gathering, because in this digital age, there's just such an epidemic of isolation and loneliness that the fact that you get together and share a meal and you check in on each other's loved ones and that happy dollar, that is such an essential part of community and democracy. We can't have democratic institutions function if you don't have a cohesive community also. So give yourselves a hug and an applause for doing that, because there's so many people who don't interact with people anymore. So you're making an important change. This is your civic engagement ideas. I wrote this while I was still employee, so I felt like I had a right to use the document still. Yeah, thank you. I have only been out of this job for a few weeks, so it's very fresh, and I usually present to Rotaries or League of Women Voters, but mostly I work with teachers. This organization is going through some growth, so we don't know what it'll look like. There's new board strategic plan, but I will tell you that Ridgeview High School has been doing all of the programs that we pilot. One of my dear friends, Susan Kernett, is a very experienced teacher with Civics Learning Project and has been, as I was when I was a classroom teacher. I was in the classroom for 20 years, and I loved getting my students to actually do civics, not just listen about civics, but to do it, to really take a stand, solve problems, practice speaking, practice negotiating, practice listening. And of course, what comes with that is a need to know some basic knowledge before you go into a good discussion, right? Are you seniors yet? So have you already started her government class and done a mock congressional hearing? So maybe they'd like to talk about what it was like. I don't want to, this will be ad hoc. You just like whatever your initial impressions were, maybe tell them what you did and how you felt about it.
Yeah.
You may want to turn around too, because Yeah.
Sure. Well, I guess when we did it, which one is it?
Mock congressional hearings,
Yeah.
did you do that?
We did both. We did a hearing and
Community Action Project?
It was.
we did two different ones. We did one where we were in front of teachers, and then we did one.
We were like in front of like 4 adults, and they were like judging us. Is that
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
what, yeah, that was probably one of the judges.
Yeah.
Sorry, we did another project. We weren't sure what the name was.
So when we did it, it was just like we researched. What did we research when we did it?
You were probably given a constitutional
We were
question
given a
to answer.
Constitutional question, and we had to like find background on it, like through the Constitution and all that stuff. And we had to like, I don't know, it was really difficult. We definitely needed to know a lot of knowledge behind it to be able to do it correctly. It was hard because they would ask us questions that we weren't expecting, and we'd be like, oh wait, what do you mean?
Yeah,
So-
it was interesting though to see how everything works. I don't know. Just gave us some new input on other things, I guess.
Cool. So I'll give you the background of that. They're engaged in a national program called We the People, and basically it is students fielding a constitutional question. It's always a question that there's sort of a gray area answer to, and they form an opinion, they give a thesis, and they back it up with evidence from founding documents like the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers. They use court decisions from usually the Supreme Court, and they use current events to show application to today. And they have to do it in a persuasive manner and field questions live on the day of. So that's very challenging. That's much different than just having a worksheet on the 3 branches of government, right? This is real life. And those are the students that are going to go on to be more comfortable doing the sorts of things I'm going to show you today, getting involved in their own communities and shaping those communities. So far, what questions do you have?
What's an example of a constitutional question?
Do you remember yours?
Like one of the random questions they asked.
Sometimes it's like, how do the natural rights
The one that I specifically remember that got me really stumped was I mentioned kings like in England and how they like dictated their government in like that certain way, and they like asked me, okay, what about that? And I was like, wait, I didn't look into this.
Yeah, so maybe you had a question on popular sovereignty or the natural rights from the Declaration of Independence. Sometimes it's about states versus federal authority. You know, all of these things were debatable then. They're still debatable, right? There's this sweet spot balance, and the sweet spot moves as we go through new challenges in our country. So that's why you have to stay continually engaged as people who care about what happens in your community. Other programs are, and this might happen later in the year, where the students will brainstorm, what do you see that needs fixing in your community? This is probably what your club does all the time, right? The number one answer generally in the state of Oregon right now is?
Taxes.
Huh, interesting. No, none of you have said it.
Roads?
Nope. Houselessness. That's what gets the most answers, is like, what do we need to fix immediately? We have a lot of unhoused people in the state. And so then the students come up with, well, what do you think could be done to improve it? And are there any policy changes that could be made? And then they research what policies exist, what policies work in some places and not others, and then they make a pitch. And they have to also develop an implementation plan. So they do have to learn about taxes, and they do have to learn about how, let's say the problem is roads. In fact, Ridgeview did it last year. So the students that graduated last year, they did a project and pitched it to city council because there was an intersection that was dangerous for students. So they came up with a policy solution. They pitched it to the city, and the city was like, that's actually a very good idea. And they also had to learn how money gets raised for roads and how it's applied. So all of this to say, this is a nonprofit that's focused on helping communities interact with their teachers to give students real-world learning in civics. And right now, starting in 2026, we have a graduation requirement for a half of credit of civics. So you might have wondered, I noticed my grandkids don't know much civics. Why is that? It wasn't that we teachers weren't teaching civics. It is that sometimes it was too abstract to really land. And when you apply it and you have students do something with it, they often remember it better. Thank you for nodding. As a presenter, having someone go like that all the time. What's your name?
I'm Josh.
Josh, I really appreciate you. As a listener, you're doing an amazing job. Yes. All right, so I'm going to be quiet for a moment and let you use this document. And at your tables in a few minutes, we'll discuss like what maybe you'd like to, maybe we'll have you go sit with someone that doesn't have anyone to talk to, like back there. So take a look. I'm going to give you a few minutes to look at the document. By the way, your cookies are very good. I also like the ranch dressing. Top notch here.
I would just say I love the concept of what you do of, having these experiences where they can learn and experience, and it's a great concept.
Great.
Thank you.
So I did it for 4 years in this group, and before that, these are the workshops I would seek out. When this organization put on you're all used to it. You're not even flinching.
You know what that is?
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah, I would do the summer institutes. I would go to whatever I could to get as much of their ideas as possible. So when I decided to leave the classroom, I was eager to take a job with them. Yes.
So we saw a couple of great examples of civic involvement. It was by a petition process from the electorate to make county commissioners nonpartisan.
Yes.
And
yes.
And then a couple of years later, brought us to the ballot to increase the number of county commissioners from 3 to 5.
Right. Right. And that's an example of direct democracy, which wasn't actually incorporated into our nation's government systems for the first 100 years. It came in once the 20th century began, really. But Oregon was one of the first. Yes?
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah?
Direct democracy is part of town meetings and the...
That part, yes. Correct.
My grandfather was the moderator of one.
Yes. But the ballot measure, the initiative petition, those things didn't get added into the official way you could bring things. Otherwise, you'd have to go through a representative. So I hear what you're saying. So what's the number one thing you want to do next? What haven't you tried that you're going to try now? You're like, not fundraising. Yeah, what are you going to try?
I'm a web designer. I usually do pro bono websites for nonprofits like education and healthcare.
Phenomenal. Excellent. He said web designing for nonprofits, education, and healthcare.
You know, next Wednesday, I might help raise some funds, maybe for a Key Club.
Great. Great.
Because I did an awful lot of these things when I was in the state board of pharmacy.
Great.
We passed a bill to allow pharmacists to give immunizations and stuff when I was on the board.
I have to say most of my immunizations are done by my pharmacist, so thank you for that. So serving on a state board is very helpful because, you know, we need the experts to weigh in on what the lawmakers should do. And I'd like to show you a tool that Oregon is very accessible. We're very lucky to live in this state. So all of the bills that go through the Oregon legislature go through this system called the Oregon State Legislative Information System. And so you can actually submit testimony. You can follow what committee the bill is in, and track what happens to it as it goes through the legislative process. So we're about, right now, actually, legislators are in Salem doing a short session, mini work session, but once February hits, it's going to be official, and there will be new bills popping in. This is, I'm going to pull up last session, if I can, to show you how you follow a particular piece of legislation. There was a Senate bill that affects wildfire that I thought might be interesting to you all. And so you can go over to bills and look it up. I believe it was Senate Bill 85. And it'll tell you, this is, the title is Relating to Wildfire Risk Reduction and Declaring an Emergency. If you're interested in the staff summary, what's this about, you can click on that and read the Senate's. Basically, this measure requires the Department of Consumer and Business Services and the Department of State Fire Marshal, in collaboration with the Department of Forestry and insurance industry representatives, to evaluate and develop community-based wildfire risk mitigation strategies to, it's a long sentence, to reduce wildfire risks and improve insurance affordability in Oregon. It declares an emergency effective upon passage. So this is about insurance companies worried about wildfire making it bad business for them to insure our homes here in wildfire country. So we as Central Oregonians really care a lot about what happens with this. So you can track this through the information system. For example, you might want to know what amendments are being added. You can look at that. You might want to testify. This is, of course, this is over, the session's over, but if it were live, you could still do this. So you don't have to drive to Salem to have the legislature respond to you. It's hard, I'm so far away from. You can see the testimony that was submitted. I like to scan and see, are there more opposed or support, and where are they coming from, and which organizations are for and against. So I want to know, how do the realtors feel about it? How does, this is a labor union. Here's a group about climate action. How do they feel about it versus, oh, this person's from a resiliency collective. I wonder what that's like. Oh, this is what the insurance agents think. Curious what they think. Oops. I must have clicked wrong. Sorry, I'm at a weird angle down here. Oh, here it is, over here. So, oh, looks like they like this idea. Well, that makes sense, right? The safer we make our homes, the less likely they are to take a loss on their profit. But we want to make sure that insurance companies still want to do business in our state, so we can still get mortgages, because if you can't insure a house, you can't get a mortgage, right? Am I right? So anyway, this is how you can follow a bill in your own. It did get enrolled, it did pass, so you can see the final language here. By the way, just this morning, I went to the hearing for the county commissioners this morning, and they did pass unanimously. And if you follow the county commission, you know that's a pretty big deal. That unanimously they passed new building measures to make the unincorporated areas of the county have safer construction codes when it comes to wildfire. So that comes out of these discussions that are happening in your legislature. So I just wanted to show you that that exists. How many of you already use this tool all the time? Okay, one person. That means my showing up today was worthwhile. Thank you for having me. Do you have any questions?
So is that website, is it on the state of Oregon?
Yes.
Something? Or?
It's called OLIS, Oregon State Legislative Information System.
So it'll be on the state of Oregon website.
Yeah, I can show you how I got there. 'Cause you can also just bookmark it once you're there, but their main, I just typed it into Google, frankly, and got there. See?
It's got a prefix.
Oregon Legislative Information System.
olis.oregonlegislature.com.
Yeah, so I'd say go there, bookmark it.
Okay.
Don't have to worry about it again. Yes.
So if I want to comment to one of my representatives, be it at the state or federal level, is my comment only appropriate for my representative in my district? Or can I comment, like if I want to comment to Cliff Benz, who doesn't represent us in Congress? Can I still send him a comment? And when his office sees it, oh, that person's not from my district, they just...
I think there's more power from your own constituents. Like you're more interested in appeasing your, I'm guessing you're gonna have something you want to urge him to do. So he's gonna be most interested in people within his district, but that doesn't mean it's not relevant. He's still a US representative from Oregon. It still matters. So I would say, yes, contact him. And you can say, I live adjacent to you. There are some things like wildfire that don't respect boundaries, right? There could easily be a fire that goes back and forth between CD5 and CD2. Air pollution's that way, water concerns.
Same way, just in town here,
Yes.
half of us have one state representative in Redmond and the other half has somebody else.
Right. Luckily, Emerson Levy and Vicki Breeze Iverson have been collaborating quite a bit. So if you speak to one of them, they'll likely bring the other in on that information sharing too, because they've realized you can get more done talking.
They were in front of another group, REA, here just a month ago. The two of them together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I don't need a gift, but thank you. If you would like to volunteer in a classroom to maybe judge one of these or even coach someone who's working on a project that you might know something about, please give me your name and I'll pass it along to the teachers I know in the area, because even though I'm not officially in this job anymore, I still have those connections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh, I get a pen.
Oh, a pen and a picture. That's
Thank you.
We're all about that here.
Okay.
In front of you. There we go. All right, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for bending your knees.
Yes.
All righty. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I'll stay in case anyone wants to.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Another earthquake.